Hi, welcome back to the Dungeon, a channel for all things to do with crafting for tabletop games. Today's video will be a short one about how to craft drool or saliva for your models. Now there are some simple things you need to craft this effect. A fishing line, some super glue, scissors, UV resin, a UV light, and some UV colorants. You will also need some silica beads that you can get from these tiny bags that you can find sometimes in the pockets of new pants and are used to keep moisture off of certain products or clothes. Now there are two main ways to go about making saliva or drool. The first is to craft the drool independently of the model and then glue it to the model where you want it to be. And the second one is to lay down some sort of armature on the model and over which to build the drool or the saliva. In order to create either effect, the first thing you need to do is take some UV resin, pour it into some sort of container, and mix in your colorants. For this model, I was going for a greenish looking saliva, so I mixed some light fluorescent green with some regular green colorants into my UV resin and simply mixed them up with a toothpick. You should be aware that a little bit of colorant goes a long way, so don't overdo it with the colors. You can see that I used just a drop of each. Mix it well, and when it's ready, you can get to work on either method. The first one I'm going to show you here is crafting the drool independently. Then I'll go and show you how to put on the armature on the model and build up the saliva effect on the model. As a base for my drool, I take a short length of fishing line and glue a bead of silica to the tip. Once the glue hardens, I simply dip the entire fishing line and ball of silica into the UV resin and then light it up with the UV torch. Doing this again and again, slowly building up more and more layers of UV resin, letting it drip and pool into these tiny droplets so that I wouldn't get too much of an even shape. And I simply do this again and again until I get this nice looking drip of UV resin. You can see how nice it looks. I make a few of these and then I head on to gluing them onto the model using some UV resin that I put on the tip of the line to glue it onto the model, and then using some more UV resin of the same color on the model to hide where I connected the fishing line. This kind of saliva effect has a very droopy feel, so it looks like it's flowing down from somewhere. Now to create saliva that has a stretchy look, it looks as if it's being pulled between the mouth parts as the worm opens its mouth, it's better to use the second kind of crafting technique, which is to glue an armature to the model itself and then build up the saliva effect on top of the armature. You can see how I did it. I simply took some fishing line that I cut to length and super glued it at both ends to the model itself. I then took some UV resin and put it over the connecting points for the fishing line and the model to hide them, and used my toothpick to simply slather on more and more UV resin onto the wire, hiding it completely and letting the UV resin pool and drip to get that dropletty look that I got for the drool earlier. Simply building this on and on and on until I have the effect that I want. It's important to remember that drool that's stretching between 2 points isn't too heavy, so don't go as heavy as you might with saliva of this sort. But a neat thing that I found was that if you actually lit it up with the UV as you were moving the UV resin with a toothpick, you can get some finer stretchy effect with the UV resin even without an armature. But this only works at the edges of the fishing line. Now, as an important aside, it's crucial that you remember that saliva doesn't only stretch between mouth parts or drool from the bottom of the mouth, it's just present in the mouth itself. So slather it generously on all the mouth parts when you're done having your main effects. Here I only show a bit of the process, but go around and just be generous with your drool. Just put it everywhere. Create some drops, some pooling points for the saliva in the model itself and on the floor around it. If the saliva is actually drooling out of the mouth, it has to pool somewhere on the floor. And this is what I did here below where I made the drooling effects for the mouth. just taking some UV resin with a toothpick, then smearing it below the drooling points in a sort of splattery pool effect. And that's it. I still have a lot more drool effects to create for this model, so I will get to it, and I will see you guys in the next video. As always, thank you very much to my Patreons, Maria, Noah, and Mai. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you guys enjoyed my content, would like to support the channel, the link to my Patreon is down below. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye!